Aguleri na Ovala. Idigada, ide sobe idigo. Idigada, just Aguleri babunda.
Idigada, Aguleri, abuga masinyabo. Na akọwapụta na ndị Eziagulu alụsigo civic center na health center la n'iru BG bụ chief servant Aguleri n'obi Eziagulu n'iru Ibobo Aguleri Onowu Aguleri na ndị kabinet na ndị Eziagulu ndị ọzọ ka nọ wee na-eyi ebi ụtọ ga-egosi na Eziagulu emeliwo n'elu onye bụ civic center n'aba nna na nwa na mmụọ nsọ.
Aguleri wetiri kolidigom, yeli provative Ovala idigonya Aguleri na di.
This is the 10th edition. We've done the first one, second one, and third one. This is the 10th. Okanga lecture is no more an intellectual discourse. It has now moved another step forward. It has now become part of developmental agenda of Aguleri. By the vision of His Royal Majesty, we want to take this lecture around all the corners of Aguleri. And that might interest you. Why this lecture is holding in this hall and why we are celebrating it. On this note, I want to congratulate all the men of Eziagulu that worked day and night in the past 45 days. 45 days, I say, to make sure that this building is standing. As of October, where we notified them from our office, Ovala Planning Committee, that we are coming for this lecture in Eziagulu, this place was still a bushland. By the end of October, we were still debating. But our November told us that this lecture will go. Yesterday, I and my team on the team inspection, we were here. The work was still going on. And this morning, we were still working. With the glory of God, we are standing here having this lecture. Please, this is the way we are, and I believe this is the way it should be. I can use spirit, and that's what we're doing. So, next year, I don't know where this is going to take it to, but just be ready that the committee will come after you, and you have to do it. On this note, I want to welcome everybody. Welcome to Aguleri, welcome to Eziagulu, welcome to Anambra East, welcome to Anambra State. Thank you very much.
The idea of Okanga lecture, particularly now Aguleri, bụ maka na eji anyị mara na Okanga bụ ebe eze ọrụ gị mana eji ezi ozi mana ezi ọ na-ezi bụ onye mara ya mara ebe Okanga nwere ike ezicha ozi n'ime ọla ike sọbụla oru onye mama na ndị mara dị ama na ezigbo ya bụ ozi maka na ọ bụrụ sọsọ music ebe Okanga na-ewepụta o nwere message and that's the idea of it called the lecture series Okanga lecture maka na ozi ka a ga-esi anyị na ụlọ anụnwa for me the great wonder of the world. Na ka nkọwapụtalụ na ya pụtalụ taa bụ Disemba 30 n'ọdụ n'ụlọ ndị Eziagulu na prọfesọ Vakansi na ebe na distinguished senator Victor na ebe na Chief Mike Oda na ebe ibe na nchechi wee nọdụ wee mee ka anyị mmalị otu a ga-esi wee kpokọta the strengths of ndị Umabala sustainable relevance na future politics na Anambra State na Kenya. Ọlụ na-abụrụ ịkọwe ọlụ m bụ isi ụlọ wee were aba ndị Aguleri niile wee na-asị ndị bịara abịa na ndị Aguleri n'ebe a Lord daalụ.
Ọ mara mma Aguleri mara mma Aguleri mara mma obodo ọma Chineke Aguleri mara mma.
Maka na Aguleri bụ obodo ọma Chineke. Onye ọbụla bụ onye Igbo maara na Aguleri bụ a community Chineke gọziri agọzi nwere very rich culture and tradition. Aguleri eju na-eme ọrụ maka ndị anyị nwere ndị ezigbo Igbo maara ebe Aguleri bụ. Anyị maara ebe Aguleri bụ. Ọ bụrụ na ike aka mmadụ ka Aguleri ji ewu ewu, ọ dị ike aka nke Chineke. Nke ọ bụla emechaa na osi na Aguleri were ibe wepụta ndị ụwa na-anụ maka ya. Mgbe ụka bịara ebe a na-ekwu nwụrụ nwoke iwe na dansi Michael chie fada 1937 a na-eme ọ bụrụ ofu onye na Nigeria niile na West Africa niile enere anya wee sị na ọ dị blessed iwe na Michael dansi onye ebe ka nkene Eziagulu maka Okanga lecture series amalitere ebe a. Obodo ọbụla na-aga aga a na-ajụ ajụjụ maka onwefa na-ejefe ụzọ. Lecture series a ebidoro ekwugo ebe dị iche iche n'ime nke a abụ ịtọ a na-eme na-emezi ibe ewepụtara a ga-enye akụwa maka nkịta. Harnessing the strengths of the peoples of Umabala for sustained relevance in the future politics of Anambra State and Nigeria. Other topic that Ibalienya ihe ọ pụtara okere ife a ga-eme ka ndị Umabala aka jikọ ọnụ wee mmalụ etu a ga-esi na-elotaba ma na-asọpụrụba na-etinye na na-eme na Anambra State na Nigeria. Ọ ife lecture na-akpali ịkọ maka ya. Ife ọ pụtara bụ ọ na-aba ndịkọ mmiri ọnụ ọgba ụfụfụ the peoples of Umabala harnessing their strength. I got to feel on harnessing strength. You get the Umabala in the days of the car. Over the Anambra State. Kaman and Umabala show Anambra State. The river the Time and Umabala break a total and the support and Nigeria. I only have time to get it. Now, topic here, my baby. Every man, over China, over the Naga. Magoya to every minimum of Pavia, I have no goes to Yaro, or opposite. Only they were 9 hours. Mal, oh, and then Adaba, syndicate to the governor. I will take them back with the governor. I'm a man who I'm on the teaching. I'm going to slow and cover staff. I will have one paper. But I can't be in my room. I can't go to Aguleri. You don't go home. You don't go. Even the people, on the way now, I'm not going to do the name of Obele. The big Agaluna. All the days we can Arabia. Even as if you were on the all the time, you know, the one and Suka. What sorts of Suka call the better move one. Who was the rest house? Oh, yeah, Suka the hot, or 1 night the rest house and you move one. You know, I'm going to go to Aguleri. That's how the hot. Aguleri green! Aguleri green! Okay, no. When I see the chairman, Mbo, and Yamadan, I want to say, Okanga, Okanga, Tenet, Obia, Josia. The guy, I wrote even in the Battle at Amagobos. In fact, because they are, you know, no, put you on Eziagulu. Either put here, deputy, all the deputy, a party, and you are now. It was a case, Manitoba and so the Baba, the mayor and a girl, very company, and area. Eziagulu, no way to never, no former, no former, everything came like a tiny never. When you talk in a lecture, from all look at the in progress. I can raise the loan 500,000. I'm on another room, who got up here, no, I can tell them better.
So having observed the protocol, let me begin this lecture by expressing deep appreciation to the organizers of this event for finding me worthy of being invited to share my thoughts on this topic. I understand this event is part of the activities lined up for the celebration of the annual Ovala festival of the ancient kingdom of Aguleri, and that this is the third in the series of Okanga Aguleri lecture, which was initiated about 2 years ago as an integral part of Ovala Aguleri. I must commend the brains behind this event and the Eziagulu for deeming it appropriate to bring in an intellectual content, intellectual dimension to their annual Ovala festival. Yeah, I'm not aware of any other community or town in Anambra State that has this, that has brought in this intellectual dimension to Ovala festival. I'm not aware. It's time to be corrected. So I must commend the brains behind this event and the Igwe himself for this innovation, in celebrating and organizing Ovala festivals. It's novel, it's innovative. So I will begin by just quickly taking a look at who are the Umabala people, or the Umabala I shall be using the two words interchangeably. I call it Umabala, you should understand, or Umabala. Yeah, there is no consensus yet as to which is the correct one. But we are also aware that the name Anambra was derived from Umabala River. So who are the Umabala people? Umabala was the name of the ancient goddess whose river runs from Uzuwani underworld to Anam and Onitsha axis, where it connects with Nkisi and Niger Ora rivers in their journey to the Atlantic Ocean. And this is according to the indigenous people. There are several myths and mysteries surrounding Umabala which led to different interpretations by many tribes and nationalities. Hence, the pronunciation of Umabala as Anambra by the early European explorers. The Umabala or Umabala people represent a cultural group that derived their name from the Umabala River. They are indigenes of Anambra State that live around the lower part of the river, around the region where the Umabala River confluences with River Niger. The term Umabala is therefore a geographical expression or phenomenon of the Umabala River. The Umabala people, by tradition, exhibit similar cultural traits which include dialectical similarity. At present, the whole of Umabala people of old Anambra local government area have been split into 4 local government areas, namely Anambra East, Anambra West, Oyi, and Ayamelo. Some of the communities within the Umabala cultural group include Umwere, Aguleri, Nando, where I come from, Anam, Nsugbe, Okozi, Nteje, Umuonia, Ibaria, Anak, Omo, Omasi, Umolu, Fidogwara, Umbo, Ibaku, and so on and so forth. Part of the cultural traits which bind the Umabala people together is the phenomenon of name clipping. The indulgence in name clipping is not typical of the Umabala cultural zone. Other cultural zones in Igbo land also practice it, but the Umabala people's way of name clipping is very spectacular. And this makes them unique in the general Igbo speech community. The Umabala cultural group is noted for their easygoing and merry-making disposition, which they usually exhibit, not only in their straightforward and undiplomatic manner of speaking, but also in their abhorrence of double dealings. The Umabala people have distinct dialects, customs, traditions, and ethno-philosophical values with many mystical and esoteric belief systems that place a strong value on spiritualism over capitalism and are held together by an eternal bond of custom, language, religious tradition, and the Umabala River. This is due to the strong bond and attachment that exists between them and their natural cosmology and ecosystem. The Igbo dialect spoken by the Umabala people can best be described as Umabaloid Igbo, in which, as in most cases, the letter F is pronounced as V, while the letter H is pronounced as R. We call, for instance, Afia, for instance, in most parts of Umabala. We call Ofia, Ovia, Ahia, Avia, Ove, and so on and so forth. Then the Central Igbo calls it like Onwara, so on and so forth. So these are some of the distinguishing characteristics. The history, geographical location, sociological, and other cultural descriptions of the Umabala people have been strikingly rendered by many historians and scholars. Prominent among them is a scholar called Okanga. What a coincidence. Okanga has done a lot of work on the Umabala people, and Okanga has been done by historians like Okanga in 2012, Idigo in 2014, Dibo 2019, Ude Abe 2021, very recent publication, and others. These sociological accounts are rich and reliably profound, and as such need no regurgitation here. My task in this lecture is to systematically identify the inherent strengths and potentials of the Umabala people, and to offer pragmatic modalities towards harnessing and exploiting these strengths, not just for momentary episodic political surfacing, but for a sustainable political relevance in Anambra State. Survey has shown that relative to other parts of Anambra State, in particular, and the Southeast in general, which have made and continue to make great waves in politics, the Umabala people are far more endowed with men and material resources in enviable proportions. It remains a great source of worry, therefore, that despite the presence and successes of schools and colleges and institutions of higher learning, with a number of professors in diverse disciplines, one discovers that the Umabala society has not been properly served by her potentials. Yeah, that's a remark by Okanga in 2012, page 11. So the issue is not whether there are potentials in Umabala. It is rather that these potentials are either underexploited or not exploited at all. Of course, my emphasis shall be on the strengths, the opportunities that are bound, the potentials that are bound in Umabala. I will be laying less emphasis on the threats or weakness of the Umabala people. So I decided to deliberately ignore that aspect. I will dwell on the strengths and the opportunities that are bound and our potentials. I must admit that this discussion is particularly timely, coming in the wake of the just concluded governorship election in the state. While the governor-elect warms up to take over the mantle of leadership from the outgoing incumbent, both manifest and latent political jostling over who gets what positions or portfolio in the incoming government has since begun, albeit unknown to the politically uninitiated. While it might not have been the turn of the people of Umabala to reproduce the governor in the just wrapped-up election, facts are that juicy political appointments do not always reflect similar arrangement. More often than not, pressure-packed, arm-twisting, and strategic deployment of opportunistic calculus play more roles in this struggle for power and continuous presence along the corridors of power. While executive power appears to be the most dreaded and highly sought after, history is replete with happenstances where the executive arm was brought to its knee by either the legislature or the judiciary, or the concept of both. The big question now is, therefore, what are the politically exploitable strengths of the Umabala people, and how may these be strategically harnessed to the political advantages of the people in such a way that in the next few years, the people of Umabala will loom large in the political terrain of Anambra State and be in a position to determine who gets what, how, and when, from the judiciary to the legislature to the executive. The rest of this paper is dedicated to answering these questions. The subtitle is Umabala people. Do they truly have human capital strengths and material resource potentials of political relevance, of political significance. What constitutes a people's strength or power has for ages engaged the minds of scholars. One of such famous scholars of power, who in concert with others have articulated what is today known as factors or elements of national power. Factors or elements of national power is Hans J. Morgenthau. Some of the factors that are considered as elements of national power by these scholars include geography, natural resources, population, leadership, quality of governance, extent of economic development, industrial capacity, technology, ideology, military, national character, and morale, diplomacy, foreign support, among others. Of course, it is convenient to organize a study of national power by distinguishing between natural and social determinants of power. The natural determinants, which include geography, resources, and population, are concerned with the number of people in a nation and with their physical environment. Social determinants include economic, political, military, psychological, and more recently, informational concern. Concern the ways in which the people of a nation organize themselves and the manner in which they alter their environment. This is from a U.S. Army War College document in 2008. The elements of national power can therefore be elevated to a conceptual framework for the determination and subsequent analysis of strengths / potentials of the Umabala people of Anambra State. The preceding paragraphs has furnished us with what constitutes the indicators of the powers of the people against which the Umabala people, like any societies elsewhere, should be assessed vis-a-vis power potentials. On geography and population, so we take a look at the geography of our region and our population. The Umabala people of Anambra State are said to inhabit about 70 kilometers northwest of Okanga, the capital city of the state, from the paper by Okanga 2012. He went further to give a picturesque description of Umabala by remarking that it spreads on the western side of the Trunk A road leading from Onitsha to Adan, Nsukka. To the south, Umabala is bounded by Onitsha town of Onitsha North local government area, just as it is bounded to the east by Anako in Ayamelo local government area. To the west and the north, it is bounded by Eziagulu in Anambra West local government area and by Ovala in Kogi State, respectively. Before the creation of the states, Umabala was formerly used to refer to the area comprising present-day Anambra, parts of Kogi, Enugu, and Ebonyi states by the indigenous people of the area. Currently, however, indigenous people from Aguleri, Anam, Sube, Umweri, Anako, Nteje Omone, Nandu, Baria, Kolezo Naka, Nzam, Okozo, Ogunike, and the Ayabelon clan, as well as others, make claims to the Umabala heritage. Political gerrymandering and delimitation for administrative convenience and political imperatives have scattered the Umabala people across Anambra East, Anambra West, and Ayabelon local government areas of Anambra State. Given the contiguous proximity of Anambra East and West, of Anambra East and Anambra North, and Okanga North, is it likely that the people of Umabala may have been gerrymandered into Okanga North along the northwestern part of the latter? At the moment, there are about 35 towns in 4 local government areas into which the people of Umabala have been administratively partitioned. The paper which I have, which I will make available to the organizers, has the list of all the towns in Anambra East, because of the Anambra West, and Ayamelum, and also Oyi. A total of 35 towns. Similarly, the Umabala area is made up of more than 27 autonomous communities with their traditional rulers, the Igwes, with Aguleri, Umwe, Ubunike Omonia, Ozu, Nando as some of the major towns. Needless to say that the famous Umabala River, which flows 210 kilometers into the Niger River and is released into the Atlantic Ocean through tributaries and outlets, is equally found within the Umabala land. According to the 2016 population estimation, Anambra West has a population of 221,400, while Anambra East and Ayamelum have populations of 201,300 and 209,300 respectively. This adds up to 602,000 persons in Umabala area as of 2016. This population would have risen astronomically, given the fact that the annual population change of Anambra State as of 2016 stood at 2.8% on natural resources and the economy. But these are all indices of power. Nature is kind to the land and people of Umabala. This natural kindness finds expressions in the abundance of many natural resources, including, of course, the popular Umabala and Ezu rivers. Individually and collectively, the meeting points or confluence of the two rivers, Abana Ezu and Umabala rivers, situated at Aguleri, Anambra East Local Government Council, has remained a tourist center as well as a pilgrimage center for those who seek help from their makers, according to Okoye 2019. The Abana Ezu and Umabala, which is generally believed by the people of the area as a sacred place for prayers, records a beehive of activities. Sacred objects and other items of worship are sold at the place, while some spiritualists and religious heads in the area are seen interceding for others. Some seek for children, wealth, prominence, power, and many others, and obtain answers immediately as people often come back to redeem their pledges in Thanksgiving. That's also according to Okoye in 2019. As expected, the Umabala people's forests and farmlands are naturally irrigated by multiple rivers, brooks, and streams, the principals of which are the Umabala and the Ezu rivers. Because of the fertility of the soil, the area is the food basket of the state. This explains why the majority of the population practice farming and fishing as their major occupation in the olden days. These farmers produce yam, cassava, potatoes, maize, melon, okra, and tomatoes to feed the whole population and for export to big cities in Nigeria. Further corroborated this by adding that since majority of Umabala people are commercial farmers, they produce staple foods in large quantities. Such foods as yam, cassava, rice, maize, sweet potato, beans, and plantain. Other cash crops include plantain, palm oil, banana, oranges, and other fruits. Because they live along the river Umabala, they have vegetables such as green amaranthus, bitter leaf, okra, egusi, and pears in large quantities. It is therefore not surprising that Umabala cultural group has been perfectly described as the part of the state where hunger has no roots. In addition to these agro-based resources, such as fisheries and farming, as well as land cultivated for pasturing and animal husbandry, the people of Umabala are rich in crude oil and natural gas deposits with large amounts of untapped natural gas and oil at Mmeaka Anam, Owele, Umuigu, Umodoro, Nza, Odebe, and Iwedo in Anambra West local government area. To harness these, the Orient Petroleum Resources was established many years ago, and following this, Nigeria's first private refinery, Orient Petroleum, was sited at Usube Umweri, Anambra East local government area, which has provided over 2,000 plus jobs to the people of Umabala through its processing of crude oil from its facility at Aguleri in Anambra East local government area of the state. It is the Umabala people that the glory of Anambra State as the 10th oil producing state in Nigeria belongs. The discovery of oil and other oil exploration or processing activities have led to the establishment of housing estates to serve the workers and such other ongoing plans as establishing an airstrip in the area. Of course, finally we ended up having an airport. The construction of roads and bridges in Aguleri and Anam, which have also created jobs for about 800 skilled and unskilled residents who were employed at construction sites. Now, finally, we are getting to the meat of this lecture. Politics and leadership in Anambra, exploiting the resources of Umabala people for political relevance. Politics and leadership in Anambra, exploiting the resources of Umabala people for political relevance. One defining character of Anambra state politics since return to civilian rule in 1999 is the looming syndrome of godfatherism. The political ordeals of governors Chinwo, Kemba, John, in the hands of political godfathers, and how they, the godfathers, tossed Governor P2B around are well known. However, recent political developments in Anambra State suggest that the syndrome of godfatherism may well be on its way to irreversible exile. When this happens, politics shall return to what it truly is, a conscious struggle for power and position through the competitive deployment of men and material resources within the disposal of the people. It is within the context of this definition that the exploitation of the resources for Umabala people for political relevance in Anambra States, in Anambra State politics, is examined. The geographical location and population of Umabala people is of strategic political significance. Being the gateway of the state to the northern part of the country, and with a politically conscious population of around 650,000 people, the Umabala people can become a game changer when it matters most. For instance, politically aggrieved Umabala people can upset the political atmosphere of the state by deploying and stationing its huge population along the terminal that links the state to the northern part of the country, pending the determination of what their grievances are. The implication of this is that the people of Umabala cannot be taken for a ride should they clamor for a just cause in the state. Still on the population, the diversity of the people of Umabala is evident in their daily contact with the people of Kogi and Enugu states can be harnessed to advance their political cause. Politics, being a game of number and of opportunistic smartness, sometimes lends itself to population manipulation. The people of Ayamelo and the people of Adan in the Soka area of Enugu State are scarcely distinguishable, both in expression and in many socio-cultural particulars. To some substantial degree, this is equally true of the people of Ovala in Kogi State. Do people surreptitiously rent population when number becomes of essence? Your guess is as good as mine. Similarly and very importantly, the reciprocal relationship between economic resources and politics has remained the cardinal concern of political economy. The resources of the Umabala people, if and when seriously harnessed, can make the people call the shots in the politics of Anambra State. We have seen the numerous advantages of the Umabala River, how it has remained a tourist site, attracting men and women from all walks of life. In other words, the river or rivers have continued to generate revenue for not just the people of Umabala, but for the state also. We're also familiar with how the huge deposit of natural gas and crude oil and subsequent siting of oil refineries have not just provided thousands of jobs for Umabala, but have also pumped revenue into the government coffers. As the oil-bearing community of Anambra State, with all the attendant oil exploration and production environmental challenges, it would not be out of place to say that the people of Umabala can, through serious pressure on the state government, call the shots in Anambra politics. No government ever jokes or plays with its source of revenue. The Niger Delta region, for instance, has remained a region whose sneezing makes the government of Nigeria catch cold, due largely to their nuisance value, with implications for socio-economic and political instability. It is important to remark at this juncture that being politically relevant entails not only vying for elective positions and or getting appointive positions. It extends to the attainment of certain strategic socio-economic level of importance in the polity, such that one can influence a course of political action. Also very germane is the interminable lines of outstanding politicians, technocrats, and business moguls that populate the Umabala community. Looking to the future, what is to be done? What is to be done? Conscious of the strategic importance of their communities to the economy and quality of the state, a concert of prominent Umabala personalities can constitute a power block of inestimable stature. Such power block will not only be capable of challenging the looming political influence of the Ebeko Falls and the Obas of Oga in Agwata Development Area, the Busigo respectively, of Anambra South, but shall through the pooling of men and material resources for a common cause be able to sponsor their own for elections or lobby their own in for appointments. A power block of such magnitude can simultaneously cause voters' flood and voters' drought for any candidate, depending on whether the candidate in question identifies or fails to identify with the Umabala political power block, which I call here OP squared B. The OP squared B, that's the Umabala political power block, will not only be expected to be sympathetic to party, religion, and sectional affiliations, so long as in the end the greatest political happiness of the Umabala people is attained. I said, with Governor William Biano, an outstanding son of the Umabala people, as outgoing governor, the road to the formation of the Umabala political power bloc should be devoid of barriers and obstacles, as he is better placed to give that idea the needed push. There is also an urgent need for a conscious effort to be made towards harnessing the strengths of Umabala people for sustainable relevance in the future politics of Anambra State. This would necessarily entail putting together a high-powered coordinating committee of some sort, made up of committed members of the greater Umabala communities from several walks of life and zones, who have distinguished themselves in altruistic service to the communities. Such a coordinating committee should have terms of reference that necessarily includes synergizing with the economically and politically well-placed Umabala persons and ensuring the collective will of the Umabala people are actualized through a more equitable discharge of their communal obligations in the service of Umabala interest, as well as the legitimate interest of other peoples. For the Umabala people to achieve the needed relevance in the politics of Anambra State and in Nigeria, there is also a need to build a strong network, to build strong networks for cultural fusion and collaborations among themselves. The Umabala people of old were one united cultural group. There is no better time than now for concerted efforts to be made towards uniting all the communities that make up the Umabala cultural zone. All hands must be on deck to ensure that whatever that divides the Umabala people is de-emphasized. That is the only way they will be in a position to speak with one voice in matters of politics and thus become relevant in the political equation of not only Anambra State but Nigeria as a whole. To conclude, I want to say that to live in a political society and have no political relevance is to have breath without living. Contrary to the heavily criticized divine rights theory, power and political relevance are not always given by God in their direct forms. They come from God in the form of resources and special skills. But until these resources, men and material, are harnessed, they remain potential powers and may never get to be translated into something or anything of political relevance. The people of Umabala are rich in men and material resources. The great task, however, is the systematic exploitation and harnessing of these resources for sustained political relevance in Anambra State. If only they can judiciously use their resource strength, they will not only be able to call the shots, they can even become a game changer in Anambra State politics and in Nigeria. There is no doubting the fact that the people of Umabala are religious and spiritual people. They believe in the supremacy of deities and put their faith in God. Yet, it is expedient for the people of Umabala to hearken to the eternal advice of your Frimpong Tengorang, who stated, and I quote him, "Use your resources and put your faith in God. Don't put your faith in your resources and then use God." Put the number. Thank you for listening. God bless you.
Umabala will never go our strengths. We will never go our competitive edge. Ugwa. Hapo mwata kele. Ndoga. Ndio kulala. Ndio Aguleri Ada na otu bai ma na-egbu akpụ ebuchi na nnukwu moto a na-akpọwadị eke na-abọ maka ma na-akpọ ihe atụ ime so mgbe ahụ stress n'Umabala bụ na anyị na-alụta ji na-alụta akpụ nwee mmiri na-apụta azụ ma na-achọta ya ma na-abịazikwa taa ọ bụ na ha na-abịa ụdị aba si abịa mbụ ka ha si abịa ibe sokwu ha jiri abịazikwu Umwere na Aguleri. Onwere na-eji igote aga na Afghanistan. Onwere na-ewele ji ejeti ya na Afghanistan. Ore ebudo dị ya bụ ije ahụ na n'udo ka ihe eje. Anyị ga-aka ọraba na-eje etiri. Ọraba jee Lucie Fumishino na Rome. Baba flight jee na Napoli. Wee bọrịga na adị ọnụ ala wee zụta. Ọ bụ na a na-abịa ebe a na baya na-eje ebe. Strengths of ndị Umabala in what do our strengths consist? Agbawo ụmụ nke na-emegbo ndị Aguleri na Mwere ewole ebe. And if I go ndị Aguleri na Mwere, because you cannot have whatever happens between Aguleri and Mwere as a way of reverberating, resonating in other parts of Umabala. The situation, the scenario is similar to the relationship between Israel and Palestine. You are not just Israel and Palestine and the Middle East. Jordan must never move down. Can you imagine every day? No, Israel, Nanka, Palestine, Nanka. So, let's do the capture there. Let's do the Choludo na Aguleri. Let's do the Madudo, the effervescent. Let's do that in his opening speech. Sinamboya Aguleri. For when I was at it, I said, no, Pierre, I brought Pierre, I brought Maya Aguleri. I'm calling the Vice Lawyer Aguleri. Vice Lawyer Aguleri. When in 1973, I passed a common entrance. Everything in National High School, Aba. I said, I'm not going to Now we go, I am from Chief Simon Docha. We have a battle on the way. I go out for Father Joseph. Go to I do Father Joseph. Now we do meet here. Elas Chumba, Kuto. Can I do my Kuto, the deputy senior prefect? Father Sia was there, Lucian, my mere good thing. Near Bonia Aguleri. No, Bonia Aguleri. Yano check at our one. I divorced on after I so we do I bless you. We learn Aguleri. One and Aguleri. Patrick Banaf. Learn at last two. Michael. I have a detail on you. Maybe I learned that. I ain't our to buy them. My please, I talk. I am around the back. They believe in them in the build up to the 60th anniversary of Father Joseph anniversary. My little name. Ogu Akuma Businio. We are some of the class. Let's say, why, you don't have a power. I want to go to sugar. This should be the name. Oh, I have an apostle push. Ovala. I can get a classmate of Ovala. Montego. Yeah. Oh, yes, and I'm glad to do both. And make an overstatement. I'm not ready to go to. I'm not good. You may be able to find a couple of pictures of women in the room. Is it going to come out of the room? Oh, not even know. That's black, I cannot go on. You have not one. Man, I am not with the day go as out. One is Eziagulu. What is that? Yana, I'm a chapter of woman. Oh, alone on a model, I buy you. You were Western Islands, if you ever have an authority. No, if you ever go in a young town, go on. The day goes up. The day goes up, and say, you go out and go to Chicago. Nana, so I got you. And I got no. Monsieur Aguleri, Anna, or Badlomin on a fatality. Go on, I bought it a couple. And I've ever known, I'm missing a Father Joseph and Jesus. I believe that. Why go see now? I want to see a five. I go, I can't go. What do you want class? I got my money on the government. Wasn't even a 2 years ago. I'm my mind. I see I'm now. I went back to work and I'm with a name. I want to know the market. I went there and came now. So I got TV, the number black and white. My name Navabu, education, who were going to married, TV at the venue. Man, supervisor for education. I came when you were the good effect. Too many little things I pass out there. I say, oh, and they are not going to do this. It's not a job. What I have got the answer. When I say, buy university, no, you see, no, tell you. Take it to the work on my person. In a home of money, Jeffrey. You go to the weekend. My first degree, I got my academic teach the University of Nigeria. I'm a how old in the graduate. You're already a prof. Let you know that today I will be see. Oh yeah, now I celebrate. Objectives or objective I is to the colloquium, according to chairman of the planning committee. The colloquium is conceived as an instrument for social engineering against the backdrop of randomly escalating drift and unbridled social misdemeanor that has characterized the new order in Aguleri, in Umabala region, and the larger Igbo society. It is targeted at achieving multi-prolonged socio-economic reconstructions critical to the development of Aguleri and the Umabala region as actors in the larger economy of Anambra, Igbo, and Nigeria. Aguleri has always been a pace setter. Whether it is because of the esoteric efforts of Aguleri people, or whether it is by sheer providence, the truth of the matter is that Aguleri has been a pace setter in social, economic, and political affairs in these climes. I'm Father Joseph. On a map, that's not an academy. You were the map of area from home to Naka, or cannot. You would be aware about Aguleri. And so, the discussion, as a discussion, I should discuss. I can tell again as the Ebola managing director, manage well. If you are a professor, profess well. Prof. Google and the Umabala people, I will not repeat it. And that is why we are a place prelude. What if I never remarks in me? Google and the and for me, the main reason, when I hear all the Babu, who never but a school in Aguleri, that's why they go to Konya Aguleri, the book code after 1995. Then I'm now. When Nigeria, Afghanistan, but they tried to go. They put it to the money. About what create a line. Inadvertently, though, another vocation. I'm going to cut it up and explain when we are going to. They create a line inadvertently, though, another vocation. I was a security man. You don't know about it. I said, I'm going to check it out. I am going at the time, we did train in the Nigerian Defense Academy, and they just go Sandhurst whenever I did training. I've been mowed down in Sabita Hot Forest by Boko Haram, by bandits, by Onobu. They were poor DH. They were young Aguleri in China. Now, I love international market. On a trade. Or trade government, they are going to blend from Or from I will security men. And the train can about. You see, they climb where trained military personnel are mowed down by Boko Haram, bandits, unknown gunmen, and all manner of evil-minded people. One can only imagine what is the fate of our brothers, whose main defense lies in ODH. Harnessing our strength Our people who are potentially brilliant here. And then we'll do peer influence. And we'll social influence. And then I'll watch it. I come now, ABS, some kind of book now, baby. Oh, yeah, money and go to political advisor. But if you don't have no matter, they don't have to go out. Now, not before, not Instagram. You say, no, they will come no before now, they have Instagram. Not the one I bought. You just go join who? What are the factors of production? Before now, need you have to mind about it. Here, we just join. What makes it great? What is displacement of pride? Aristotle was that knowledge is virtue, ignorance is vice. And I'm with you rather than I could be there. That is why it is very important to be right. I have to go about it. Aristotle agrees what the guy comes with. I said knowledge is virtue and ignorance is vice. No one ever tell me what the implications of evil. You can go ahead. Then Nigeria was no yet anymore. Well, what catapult my each chairman had a moya. I'm a woman. Oh, man, no, but when you walk it. So, Mamma, go to go. One nature, I am a conclusion. There's no conclusion in life. Even when death strikes, conversations continue. Of course, we discuss. I will know. Can you make a conferences? Major conventions, major seminars. It is an ongoing thing. Lecture one, let the conversations continue. So it's only in the context of conversation that ideas can come forth, and then you follow up with implementation. Where can you win? You see, Nika, when you share there, you don't want to go back. One more man for the meditation more believer. No, they go more than the men about cheer. You know, no further than the Jumba. But you join us, no problem. I had religion. I just know what I call them go. I'm a pastor, because I live going to go. Simana, okay, my mother was quickly go. Oh, my is not problem. You go back to Christo, and maybe them. Finally, it's a way of condition they say. One express no actual law. No matter you hear. What? Obini girl will retire Chief Justice. Can you again from all? Money, but they give the estimate to 4,000 son. Daily pay on Martin. Money, but they are not saying. Man, we are going. Mbosoka, I joke. As we are even when you cannot never pay no man. And I'm not going to I never go. Obilota, them man, look at the go. This should be put on the name. That was zero. I can know. Opposite and electoral, very Umabala. Even Tiro, the local resource of Maporia Babona, Umabala. Odinma State. This side of the bank, I am with you. No one boy alone, I am not back. I am now, we have a bit of development to Gabia. About I am living in there. I chair Anambra State, I try to develop Anambra State. Ever I site industries. Ever you make that. All over I have there. Obranoka, Nagronoka. Never you will go back and I come out. So, Umabala. I give you the development gap alone. In 1986, so I built my Asaba, the Mozo one. Diego and me, Aguleri, 45,000 naira. When I moved down, I go. Company that go money. I'm was an amateur. Let's go my truck also. Another two at for 5,000. Wow, 1986.
Ya bụ ihe ga-eji ebe obodo ebe a ka ọ dị. Ọ ga esi onye bụ onye n'otu oge n'aka. Mmanya mmanụ ekwuru unu nwere, yes, mmanụ dị na Aguleri otu. Mana mmanụ na ọ dị Umabala. O metụrụ ebe niile aka. Unu nwere mmadụ. Ama m ndị ọma mgbagharị nne. From ahịa mere m to Anambra East. Ama m ọtụtụ ndị mmadụ. Mmanụ unu nwere ife eji igbe abụọ adaka. Kama ndị mere na agwọ adadị ire nọ na ebisasị n'ọbịa. Ọ bụrụ na agwọ gbakọ ọnụ na asọ aka eni kọmuniti. Ọ bụrụ na nọ na Aguleri dọkịta na-eji agụrụ ebe agbakọ, ọ bụrụ ya etu ụlọ aga. Ọ bụ doro n'anya. Ya bụ na ife na-eme n'ọnwa mbara bụ ife na-eme n'ala Igbo. Ejikọrọ ọnụ wee bụ nsogbu ndị Igbo nwere. Mana ndị Igbo jikọrọ n'ọnụ, ọ ga-eme ndị Naịjirịa ihe. Ọnwa mbara jikọ ọnụ, ụrụ na-ekwu ndị aga na-eme na Anambra steeti. Etu a ka o si dị, Mike emetụghị aka na ebe unu tọrọ bụ udo. Udo ka a ga-abịa eweta ebe a. Ife a na-eme a na-aga. Aguleri na Umueri. Ebe na-anụgo n'etu otu okwu, ọ dị ka Palestine and Israel. Ọ bụrụ na nwee enduring peace, you will be able to organize the whole of Umabala. Ndị mara ege ọnụ ntị. Ezi udo bụ ezi udo ka ọ bụ. Bụrụ nnekwu anya, akụkọ ewetegoro ndị Umabala ezigbo afọ. O wetegoro na ezigbo afọ maka ebe ọ rụpụtara na Anambra steeti. Ọ rụrụ international airport, ọ gaghị anabụ ekwu. Ọ rụrụ ya tọpụ last 2 years of the administration ọ rụrụ nke a. Airport dị ndị amaghị ekwetere bụ na ebe na-ekwu a ga-eme ndị nọ n'ọdị airport ọ ga-abụ. Onye ọ na-agbado plane na ndị ahụ Umueri. Mike Otakwue, ọ bụrụ ebe onye izi agba na 30th April anyị bịara na airport a. Ka m na-ana fonu m na-ada. Onye akpọ ọsị na obi anọ ndị niile mere anyị agbaghara gị. Na airport ọrụ o metere na Anambra steeti. A na-ekwu ọrụrụ aga 28 anyị ga-emepe stadium n'Ọka gbaa bọọlụ in a standard pitch. Akụkụ emere 27th unu ege inspection na International Convention Center. Before end of February, ọlụtọpụ ya 10,000 seating capacity international standard afọ akpọkụ. Ya bụ na ndị ọrụ mbala ama atụzụ ụjọ ịzọ ọchịchị maka na onye nke unu wepụtara ọwara ka agụ ife ọbụla a ga-edide leta abịarị nne. Ọ bụrụkwa na nwere ebe ọkpọrọ ọkpara ọ sọrọ ọkpara ibe mana generally he has done well as a governor, so you have to be proud of him. Ekwube na onye Umabala na-achị gọvanọ nwere ya sị na ha mara ife a ga-eme maka o demonstrate go capacity ọrụgo ọrụ. Onwe nke mmadụ eritere ya dịbe na ebe a na-agwụ agwụ. Otu a onye ya na-eru ọnwa ga-agbakọ ya okirikiri maka na anyị nwere na gọọmenti ma na o nyere ndị gọvanọ aka ma appointment o megasịrị relationship Aguleri na Umueri a o tigburu ya aka maka onye maka Accountant General Anambra steeti tata onye Umueri. Ọ bụ na akpọkọ e na-eme na ụlọ na-eso ụgwọ mee onye Aguleri onye Umueri Accountant General Anambra steeti. So o bidogo the bridge building between these three communities. You need to sustain it and ensure that you surpass what efforts Akpoko has done in uniting the two communities. The other thing is, this conversation is a continuous one. So you have people, the important thing is for you to provide the leadership. Aguleri, provide the leadership to Umabala people. By bringing your brothers in the way. Because Mike, they're very humble. Over accept Aguleri, go get back. And go only out of patriotism. Omar get good room where they were so where to go Umabala. So on that note, I said congratulations. Look at how continue. As you go, we will bring peace in this axis between Aguleri and Umwere. Umwere already. Say we're going to airport out there, but I'm not going to call. Nobody knows what we're going to do. The money will also. The money will also. One of our and I can't airport of your own, one of the so airport you do not the same at the airport grow engine room for development in Anambra State. And never not ever.
Sustainable relevance in future politics. We can never achieve it without unity. If globes are not united, stand divided, fall apart. And we started it now in Naka, in Wales, call. Voice and Emerald. I'm not called when you come and belong again or walk. And that is the only way we can be relevant in politics and get that development. Malona government in the Ovala also, who will make the government, make it and Pamana. They can be global. But we look at it, they give work at the Pampo. Now, I'm even so equal, we must history will continue to speak good about it. Mana. Oba Eziagulu 2 months or 3 months or 4, I didn't know I was in the tour, or just but if we're united back on our wine as a block, just like you said, the people over 250,000 people. In common achievement, I'm making a wine, I go in by church. Now, when they mess it up, I go in now like that, but you know, they're making 18 years. I went in and kind of put a kind of solution part of the system. I think that is the summary of the whole thing. And what I think I'm going out from, going out here from, now, thank God, I didn't make any introduce here. And I find Candina Marie Ben and Mbafu, Profeta. We are going to be at our resource as we do. And when I make it, Professor, you know what we never and so many people, members of the cabinet, a good number of people not here. Who not even a point in our Bible to justify or give credence to Chief Michael Odawu. I'm going to pay setter. There's a good book of pay setter. I don't know why you lose. I don't know when they never had the level. Actually, that reference among them, the dates were one there. If also never come from everyone, who will take that decision, irrespective of what it is. Once up where we reach the last area, or else they go over anything. You see, Nika, Wadon, government here, okay, we didn't have one. Wadon can have one of the moments in which we met, even Governor William we support our government in Abia by bringing every community of Umabala extraction together. I think if we do that with using our resources and having faith in God, as my brother said, I think we'll get to the promised land.
Hold on.